What's going on, everyone? We're back again with another video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the Minnesota Twins. Now, the Twins have had some very up and down seasons, I want to say. Obviously, their 2023 one was probably their best season in quite some time. But in 2024, it just wasn't good. I mean, the AL Central was really competitive. They ended up going 4th in their division at 82 and 80. So, I mean, really competitive division. Obviously, 3 teams made it in from the Central this season. And obviously, we had 3 of those teams move on to the ALDS. So, pretty insane when you think about it from looking at the Twins section of this. Because the other teams around you are just getting better, right? I mean, we've seen the Royals make some signings, the Tigers make some signings, and the Guardians make some signings. Where the Twins really haven't done much. I know they're trying to sell the team right now, and there's that whole problem. So they haven't really made any moves. So it's going to be a pretty mediocre Twins team, in my opinion, unless they can call any of their prospects up, which we're going to talk about now. A couple of these guys I think can start on this team because they got 4 guys in their top 10 that are supposed to be called up in 2025. So let's go over those players. Starting at number 2 in the organization is Yimeno Rodriguez. Now, his 2024 season, he batted a 280 and pretty much played at all different levels. His best, obviously, being in AA at 298, but he only played 47 games this season. He didn't really have a good sample size, so not really sure where this stands. Obviously, with spring training is going to be big for him, right? But even in AAA, 217 in 7 games, not horrible, but really not what I think they're looking for. So overall, going to be pretty interesting for his career as we move forward, but we'll wait and see what happens. I think he could definitely got a shot. He just needs a bigger sample size in that AAA level, and even AA, because that was his first time being there this season. So we'll wait and see what happens with him. Coming at number 3 is Luke Keyshaw. Now, he's an interesting player. He's a second baseman, a first baseman, and an outfielder. So interesting combination there. Obviously, he's played in AA, was the highest level this season. In 102 games in high in AA, he had a 303 batting average. So obviously insanely good. Obviously played better at the single A level, which makes sense. In AA, batted a 281 in those 58 games. So not horrible from him. I'm actually excited to see how he does. I think he could be an interesting prospect, especially with those position combinations. He's very versatile with this team. Could play pretty much 5 out of the 9 positions, which is really good. But yeah, once again, I think they're going to try him in AAA before they actually call him up, because that's normally what the Twins pretty much do across the board. But once again, spring training could be big for these players, so that is something to think about. Now, coming in at number 5 in the organization is Marco Raya. Now, his best level was AAA this season, but spent a lot of his time at the AA level and didn't really perform. At a 4.27 ERA in the AA level, able to pitch 5 innings at AAA and was pretty good. Didn't give a run, so pretty solid right there in the AAA level. So once again, I think they're going to start him again at AAA. I mean, if you're pitching pretty good, they just need a bigger sample size at that AAA level to see actually how he's doing, and then they're actually going to be able to call him up. We'll wait and see on him moving forward, but his last year, in AA, I mean, it's 4.2, not really good. His career in the minors is at 3.75, so you expect that to be 4 in the MLB probably. But yeah, we'll wait and see how he does. Obviously, spring training will be massive for him. So coming in at number 6 in the organization is Andrew Morris. Now, he's a right-handed pitcher. Obviously, highest level was AAA this season. Spent most of his time at that AA level. But honestly, pitched pretty well. 2.37 ERA in 133 innings. And his best level was the AA level, which is very interesting. But even in AAA, 3.48, struggled a little bit. But from this whole composition, I mean, once again, spring training will be massive for him, right, moving forward. But it is very interesting. He did perform pretty well. His best performing season so far in 2024. So 2025 should be pretty good with him, and we'll see if he gets the call up. I feel pretty confident about that. Those are the 4 players in the top 10 that are going to be called up in 2025. If we kind of scroll down the list here, we have number 13 and number 14 in 2025. We have number 19 and 20, as well as 23 and 30. So a lot of guys on this list are supposed to be called up in 2025, which is definitely a good sign for the Twins moving forward. Let's move over to the Twins contracts right now, because they haven't really spent a lot of money or made really any moves this offseason. So going to be pretty similar to last year, looks like. Obviously, Carlos Correa is still here for a couple more seasons. The 4-team options is just insane to me. I've never seen something like that before. So I wonder how they're going to handle that every single year, because it is very interesting to look at. Byron Buxton is still here for 4 more seasons. So that 28 seasons really might be the last of Correa and Buxton, which is kind of crazy. Obviously, Pablo Lopez is still here for 3 more seasons, making a pretty decent amount of money. Christian Vasquez, Chris Paddock, Jorge Alcedo once again. Those guys all got contracts, as well as Justin Topa and Michael Tonkin and Brock Stewart all have contracts moving forward. Everyone else pretty much in arbitration with this team, especially some of the more known players like Duran, Lewis, and Jax, right? Those were some of the stars they had last year on the squad. They got to pay a couple for buyouts. They're paying Jay Jackson $200K. They're paying about $94.3 million in committed money. This is supposed to get up to $130 million, which definitely seems fair. Could probably get up a little bit more depending on how arbitration goes for them. But not horrible on the contract side. I just feel like they're kind of fading with some of these players that they have moving forward because a lot of them seem to be free agents next year. Now going over to their roster, because their roster is very interesting. They're not a horrible team, but they just don't like excite me at all moving forward. But looking at the rotation, I think Pablo Lopez, Joe Ryan, and Bailey Ober are probably going to be the good starting three. Obviously, losing Sonny Gray was massive to this team, I thought, in my opinion. But we'll kind of see who they fill in with the rest of the four guys. Not confident in those four, to be honest. Now moving over to the bullpen, I think this is where this team is really good, I think. Especially with Jared Duran as your closer. Griffin Jax was really good last year. Kind of got snubbed to the All-Star game, unfortunately. Justin Topa and Michael Tonkin have shown some signs of success in the past, especially because they're tall. They're extremely tall. I mean, 6'4" and 6'7" is just insane. So those guys could definitely be scary when you're facing them on the mound. But going over to the starting nine right now, they got a lot of options to choose from. I don't know. The nine is not horrible. Don't really feel confident in this team. So starting off at catcher, Christian Vasquez will start. Ryan Jefferson will probably be the DH. I think one of these guys, I mean, both of them are pretty good, so I like both their catchers. Jose Miranda should probably play first base. Eduardo Julian will probably play second base if I had to guess. I mean, they have Willie Castro as well, who hasn't been horrible in his career. Obviously at third base, Royce Lewis will play there. And then at shortstop, Carlos Correa will play there. And the outfield situation is pretty interesting because they did lose a couple players out here. So the outfield is kind of up in the air in my opinion on who they're actually going to start. So obviously we know Byron Buxton will play center field. I think that's a known fact. Once again, if he stays healthy. Left and right field, I feel like you could put a lot of these different players. Kind of what they did last year is they tested a lot of these guys out. Kind of waited to see who was solid for them. I'm not really sure who they're going to put in those corner outfield positions. And then the DH, once again, you could put a lot of players there, right? There's a lot of guys that you could put there as your DH. Definitely an interesting Twins team for sure, but there's just a couple of spots on this team I just don't know how they're going to do. Now, obviously, their attendance in 2024 was not really the best looking at the league. They brought 1.9 million fans to the stadium and a 24,000 average, which is 23rd in the league out of 30 teams. So once again, on the lower side, down with some of the lower teams as well, and also some of the teams that don't really spend money in their division as well, which is kind of funny. Not a lot of attendance for the Twins. The thing that sucks is in Minnesota, it gets cold, right, in April, May, even in September. So kind of hard to draw fans at those games. I will say that. That's why I feel like the first couple games of the season, you know, all the teams should be playing in those warmer markets. And then when it gets a little bit warmer, they can obviously play in their home stadiums. I don't know. I feel like it'd be better because you come from spring training all warm and you got to go to these cold environments, which obviously isn't ideal, and also cause player injuries as well. But that's a different conversation for a different video. Let's go over on to the MLB draft right now because the Twins have an interesting draft. Obviously, the Twins kind of got blessed in the last couple draft lotteries we had, moving up a ton of positions. This time they go down two. They'll be picking at 16th in the first round. Let's go over. No prospect promotion, no compensation picks. They do have their competitive balance A pick at 36, which is very nice. Moving on to the second round, they do have the 12th pick in this round, which is very nice at 55. And then moving on down, no competitive balance B pick here. They don't have the compensation pick here. Moving on to the third round, they have the 13th pick in the third round. Moving down, no compensation picks here. In the fourth round, they have the 14th pick. Once again, moving on down, no compensation picks here. In the fifth round, they're going to be picking at number 13. And then in the remaining 15 rounds, they will be picking at number 14. So they got 21 picks in this draft, which is nice. Obviously helpful of that competitive balance A pick. But yeah, so pretty good draft for the Twins. We'll see how they do moving forward in this whole draft. Definitely should be a good one for them. Now moving over on to my prediction for this team. Once again, the Central has gotten really good. It was really bad a couple years ago. Now they've gotten really good with the Tigers and Royals finally seeing those rookies get called up and spending some money. But the Twins, once again, I see them fourth. I just don't see them better than the other two teams. They haven't made any moves and they haven't really gotten better. The only way they get better is with some of those rookies getting called up, in my opinion. So do they even get 82 wins? I don't even think so. I think it might be a bit lower, maybe at the 80 win mark, maybe 81, maybe lower than that. I don't see them above 82 wins because I can't say they're better than last year because they lost a couple of players. They didn't make changes. They didn't even really trade either, which was kind of surprising. I think that's because they're trying to sell the whole team right now and the whole franchise. That was going on a little bit in the offseason, so maybe that's why. But the only thing they've done is trade schedules with the Rays. So I mean, that's the only thing I've seen from them. I think I got them fourth in this Central, again, missing the playoffs. I just don't think they're going to be a good team. But that's my thoughts on the Twins. What's your guys' thoughts about this team moving forward? I just don't see them doing good. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about this team in the comment section down below. But if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everyone.